Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're back in AFK Journey, and in today's video I wanted to make an equipment upgrade priority guide because in the new season you are going to be getting limited on gold, especially because the equipment upgrades are really expensive. So each time you level up the next 10 levels, you're not going to be able to upgrade all of your equipment and forge the next highest power level of them. So there are specific equipment slots which are going to be the key ones you want to focus, even for all of your different hero classes. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And then after that, we're going to talk about the Lone Gaze Dream Realm boss, because that's the boss which is active for me today. And him and the Alpha Bear are probably the two hardest bosses to challenge in the new season. So, and there's specific heroes which do well in Lone Gaze, which I'll talk about later today. And probably we'll do Alpha Bear tomorrow because he comes out tomorrow after the Lone Gaze. Okay, so first of all, the good thing is with the Dream Realm clears, you're going to have those chests which allow you to select much higher level weapon, and you can then select it for each one of your classes and get the level, like basically leveled up that you would not even be able to forge weapons. And weapons are the most important equipment you want to be upgrading to maximum level. So if you don't have these for whatever reason, you should level up your weapons first. Then after that, you should go to your marksmen, because marksmen are the equipment that you want to level up in first, because you're going to have OD and Merrily here, which are going to be your Dream Realm boss killers, and you need them to be as maximum in terms of their power as possible. But the two key ones you want to upgrade, and this goes for every hero, are the boots, because this gives you crit percent. And although if you don't even have enough gold to upgrade, like you only want to upgrade one thing per hero, I think the most benefit comes actually from the headgear, which are, it's a pendant here, but in other like heroes it's kind of like, well, I guess this is considered the headgear. So I guess this is the amulet or type of accessory item, but this is the one you want to upgrade because it gives you attack. And this 62,000 attack basically is going to be about around 1.5% of your hero's attack. I tried to calculate it. So it's not a huge attack gain, but the crit percent is really nice. So we're going to forge that. And then after that, what I would recommend is go for the boots for the crit percent. And because crit percent is going to be a stat which, if you have it higher, you're going to have a higher chance of landing a critical hit. And it doesn't cap at 100% because it will be reduced in your crit based on however much crit resistance the boss has. So if the boss has, like for example 300% crit resistance and you have 320% crit, then you will only have actually effectively 20% chance of critting, which is the 320 minus the 300. So basically bosses, I'm sure, will have higher crit resistance, and so you want to increase your crit to have a chance of landing more critical hits on them. Then if you want to upgrade more, what I would recommend is just this final one, which is the bracers, the glove slot, because this also gives you attack. The other two slots only give you like a really minor amount of attack and mainly defenses. Defenses can be useful, although once you get to a certain level in the Dream Realm boss, it is more about the damage you can output. It is different in, for example, the Alpha Bear and Lone Gaze, but I feel like they just output so much damage that this additional even tankiness is not going to allow you to survive. What you need is like a support lineup, like with Coco, to protect you in order to survive. So this doesn't actually make the difference. So these are the two things I would upgrade, and I would do it on all heroes first. The other point is that if you have any equipment which is really lagging behind, like I think I have one level 200 piece of equipment here, so we will upgrade this because the equipment which is lagging far behind, you're going to get a much bigger boost. There's a 30 level boost from this forge, and even though it's only defenses, this is on a support equipment, and support heroes do want defenses so they don't die. But again, like really the priority with how you're upgrading equipment is to do better in the Dream Realm, but it will also be to push in AFK stages, and so if you have more tankiness on your support heroes, that can make the difference. But another just important point is that if you're running out of gold, what you can also do is not upgrade each time you hit a level up, but every 20 levels, then you upgrade the equipment. So I could like say, okay, all of the level 210 equipment, I'm going to upgrade first, and this is not a bad option. And anyway, this is a good equipment we want to upgrade, which it gives us the attack so we can go for that. But I will then also go for the boots and the accessory slot for all of the rest of my equipment, and I'll leave the tanky equipment unupgraded, just because I think like even in AFK stages, if you can land that crit or do a little bit extra damage, that is really the RNG factor you need in order to push through some certain stages. The a little bit additional tankiness I feel like doesn't really make or break the your team and how well you can clear stages. So with the tank, you don't even have to upgrade anything because his crit percent, now it can matter because if there's a tank that deals damage, for example Tamisi is a great example in Dream Realm, then you will want her to have a high crit percent. And so you can upgrade this if you want, and it isn't terrible, but you're not going to be getting as much attack. I think you're going to be getting some HP instead. But I think for right now we'll just leave it level 220 because tanks for the most part are not going to increase your damage output, so you don't need to upgrade them. And like we know, marksmen are really important, so ideally maxing it out completely is good, but this is only, well, it is like I guess 62,000 attack, but again that's going to be around 1 to 1.5% in terms of stats. So we will go for the rogue, and in this point of the game, like in the new season, what I use to push the AFK stages is the Iron nuke team, and Iron is a rogue, so you can see which heroes get the benefit from this buff. And also Shakir is a rogue, and now we're gonna come to the lone gaze. I think that's all the upgrades I'm gonna do for right now. I think that's pretty much the way to be efficient, and then next when we hit level 240, then we can upgrade these like lagging behind level 220s to get like a bigger bonus. Okay, so gold is going to be something you run out of. You don't really run out of the crafting material. Even if I used everything to upgrade it, I wouldn't have ran out. And then we're going to be using the new crafting material, like the higher tier material, in order to get to level 240 anyway. So we could use all of this if we wanted to. Anyway, let's go to the Primal Lord now. Now for the Lone Gaze, there are basically going to be 4 heroes, in my opinion, you always want to run. And those are these upper front 4, like, let's get rid of Shakir, these 4 right here. Because Smokey for the heals, the attack buff, and the haste buff, and also the damage he deals to the boss once he's Mythic Plus, and he gets his blue aura, that deals a lot of damage. So Smokey is the best support, and you need to run him, and by the new season, you should definitely have at least 1 copy of Smokey, ideally Mythic Plus, but he can work even with lower than that. And then you want to have Coco. Coco is a must-have for Alpha Bear, for Lone Gaze, and even for, I think there was one other Dream Realm boss, definitely in the early levels before we hit to like level 230, we used Coco a lot. And even I think now I think there is a boss I still used it in this past week, but Coco is a great support. She will allow you, when you're having a difficult time surviving, Coco is the best option to put in here, because if you can survive a little bit longer, you're going to be getting off more damage. Because if the reason you're getting low damage is because the boss is killing you too fast, Coco is going to increase your damage. So Coco is really key. We have her on our wish list now after OD has been maxed. And we're going to try to get her to Mythic Plus. She is 5 copies away from Mythic Plus, and then she'll have a shield effect as well after her ultimate resolves, like after that damage reduction is settled. Okay, so Odie is the best damage dealer for the Lone Gaze. I don't know, I think one reason he is because he stacks the poison, and then even when the boss, like, you know, he does his reincarnation, or I don't know what he does, resurrection type thing, like he basically disappears from the stage for like 5 seconds and then reappears with like, and howls again. And I think the damage keeps ticking even during that because he's poisoned, like Odie has landed poison on him. And also, because you're running Coco and Smokey, having another Mauler here to get the buff is good. And just consistently, Odie is one of the highest damage dealer output, like, heroes. And so yeah, that's why he's better than Merrily here. And in fact, we don't even use Merrily at all, because maybe really late game when you have like maxed out level heroes and it's like an endless mode, then you'll want Merrily for upping your damage. But right now, the survivability is an issue. We're running Thorin because, again, to protect the Odie. So Thorin needs to be Mythic Plus for him to work well in this Lone Gaze team, because with the Soul Pact, he's going to protect Odie and let Odie survive longer. Without the Soul Pact, even with like my level 230, Coco, Smokey, it is not enough. Odie will die towards the end of the fight. Even with this team lineup, Odie does die, but right at the end. Like everyone is going to die right at the end of the fight. So the Thorn Soul Pact is so key, and even early game, like when you start the new season, again, Thorn Soul Pact is so key. He also has a Soul Plunder effect, which will increase the damage that the boss receives by 17%, which is like a mini Rainier type debuff, so he's really good for that as well. And then the final hero here we're running is Shakira. So Shakira is great in lone gaze because the wolf is gonna jump on your like your Smokey and like your grouped up team over here, and Shakira is then gonna buff up your almost your entire team. And Shakira does amazingly well if he's able to be in his wolf form close to your allies, because then they're all gonna be receiving his buff, which is a damage reduction buff, a really high damage, like I think 25% damage reduction buff, and then also like a 30+ haste buff, which is insane. Like they have so much haste, they have the damage reduction, and even attack buff if he's at +10 exclusive equipment, but you don't need that. Like honestly, even if he's Mythic Plus, even without an upgrade exclusive equipment, you can run him here, because that like damage reduction and the haste buff he gives to like let Coco ultimate a little bit faster, that can be like the saving grace for your team. So that's why Shakira is really key. He also is a 4th Mauler. He also deals decent damage. Like we'll see that. I'll try to check the damage output at the end of this fight, but he should deal like I don't know, maybe 20% of Odie's damage, maybe even more than that. So he's kind of like he's a buffer, support, utility, but also kind of a sub damage dealer. So this is the team, and I've experimented with other teams, and I think this is the way that I can get off the most damage and survive for the longest. It is not better for me to run anything else. If you don't want to run Shakir, for example, then maybe you could try something like this. And this team right here, I ran a similar team to this when the Primal Lord Lone Gaze was out on our like original, like the original a few days after the global launch, right, when Primal Lord came out. And Ccia can be a decent damage deal, but the thing is she is gonna die, but as long as she survives, she will get off some decent damage. So you can run something like this. This is more of like a beginner team. But if you're going to run Thorn, you really want him to be Mythic Plus for the Soul Pact. And ideally, you also have Smokey at Mythic Plus, even Coco at Mythic Plus, because the shield is going to help your survivability. But anyway, we're gonna do a run here, and I've had the best luck with Quick Blade spell. I've experimented with Evocation spell and Quick Blade spell. These are basically the two spells which will, or artifacts which will increase your damage the most on the bosses. So, but for each boss is kind of a different story. I don't know why Quick Blade spell does better for me in this Lone Gaze. I think the fact that Evocation spell can give you a haste buff, I feel like I might end up getting too much haste, and then the timing of the Coco ultimate goes a bit off. And then because I just find that with Evocation spell, Coco ends up, or like everyone ends up dying a bit earlier. Anyway, we're gonna do the run, and you'll see the team in action. So to begin with, you have all the buffs. Everyone's getting buffed up by Smokey. Smokey gets interrupted, but that can be avoided. Even if he's in the second line, he is gonna be hit with that attack from the wolf and get interrupted, and it's only a short interrupt. So now we have the wolf form. Coco gets off the ultimate at the perfect time right before the first round of wolves attack the Odie. And we have Shakira buffing up Thorin in the front line for the damage reduction, which is good because Thorin is going to be taking the damage that the boss deals to Odie, half of that damage because of the Soul Pact effect. So again, the boss is about to attack with the wolves on Odie, and perfect time for Coco ultimate. So this is how you want it to be. Like if that Coco ultimate didn't go off and the Soul Pact, look how much damage Thorin took for the Odie, because Thorin actually died there. Then Odie would have died if that all didn't happen. So here we don't get a very lucky run. I got higher damage output. I got like 1.6 million even before hitting level 230 and upgrading all of this equipment, because you guys saw it on video right now. And it was with this exact same team. So I think we got a little bit unlucky with the fact that the boss killed Odie, even though we had like our perfect timings of our Coco ultimate. And but yeah, that second, I think the second round that boss goes for the wolf attack on that backline hero, it does a massive amount of damage. And even though Coco ultimate was on and Thorin took the damage from Soul Pact, it was still not enough, or it was enough for him to survive. But then when the ultimate of Coco ended and the damage effect settled, then Odie died. Okay, so we're having some weird things happening. It's changed, and this is the thing with Lone Gaze. Your performance is really going to change by minor, minuscule factors, because it all really depends on the timing of everything, the timing of the Coco ultimate, and also how much the boss crits you with his attacks. That can also be a factor. I'm gonna switch to evocation spell. Maybe that's gonna do better for us now that we have some change in our thing, because normally I always go for evocation spell for the Dream Realm bosses. But yeah, we might have to try an entirely different format or something. But I don't know, there's not been any real, like the team is exactly how it was before. So let's see. Definitely Coco to Mythic Plus is going to be the biggest upgrade and safety for your team, because those shields that you will get after the damage effect resolves, like we would be hugely shielded all over our team right now, which would then help us take the falling attacks from the boss. So a little bit better. Okay, so far Odie survived. Let's see, we need Coco to get another ultimate right now. Coco gets off the ultimate, so Odie should be able to take this. Barely takes it, and Thorin goes down as well, because he's taking almost all the damage from the soul packet. Now Odie's gonna die after this resolution. He's gonna get popped, because the wolf just did so much damage to Odie on that. Yeah, it seems like the wolf is doing more damage now that we've upgraded Odie, which seems so strange. This is also a weird thing, because someone told me when Lone Gaze was first out, because it was the first boss that appeared on our server, guildmate of ours, Advisor, he said that he got a lower score and kept dying quicker after he leveled up like 10 levels higher than when he got his ultimate high score for that day. Which is, it's really weird, but there is some kind of mechanic which is going on here. Okay, is there anything else we can try? Like, honestly, there's nowhere. You can't replace Coco, you can't replace Smokey, and really honestly, Thorin, we do not want to replace him here. I don't think, at least. Like, we could replace him, but then you're kind of like saying, okay, let Odie die when he dies, but let Coco keep him alive for as long as possible. We could try to do that. And then if you want other options, Temesia is a good option, and it's kind of recommended here, because especially with Shakir, Shakir can buff up the Temesia, because Temesia is going to be predominantly in the front line with Shakir. And Temesia gets off a lot of damage with the true damage. And we're going to see it here. So yeah, it can be the case that Coco alone can keep your Odie alive for long enough, but it is not the maximum protection for Odie, and that's why I feel like Thorin is the better option. Other things you could experiment with are like Thorin or Marilee, but Marilee would just be for more damage, and it doesn't end up being more damage, at least in the tries I did before this. Okay, Coco gets off another ultimate, so good. Odie, if he can just survive this, no, he gets popped. So you need the Thorin for protection. It might be a factor of when the crits go off. If we're gonna run a team like this, you're just kind of saying, okay, I know Odie is gonna die, and I just want to try to squeeze out as much damage with my other heroes, but it's not as effective. Like, we're gonna barely be able to get up to 70% or not even, and our maximum is 74, almost 75%. But it is strange that it seems like we're just doing worse after the upgrade of our account. Okay, so let's go with Thorin again. And Corrin is another interesting idea, but he's just not going to be better than Shakir. Like, we could go for, like, forget about Thorin and just go for Corrin. This is another team I experimented with. Let's try this one for a bit. Again, you're gonna just say, okay, Odie will die by maybe the 30-second left mark, if we're lucky. He might even die before that if the boss gets crits. But if the boss doesn't get crits, Odie will be able to survive up to the 32nd, and then his poison damage is going to still keep ticking on the boss. So as long as the rest of your team can survive throughout the fight and output some good damage, then Odie can still get off his damage despite dying, which is another factor. Okay, so there we have the smoky damage is insane when the blue aura goes off, but sadly the boss resurrects. Yeah, look at the damage ticking down, even though whoa, okay, this is really nice. I don't know what happened, but somehow Odie repositioned so that Smokey took that hit from the boss, because basically the boss attacks with his wolf summons the rearmost hero, and usually that is going to be Odie. And you want it to be Odie, because if it's anything else, like if it's Coco for example, then Coco's going to die. And you have the Thorin protecting the Odie, so like you're gonna buy as much time if you have Thorin and Odie tanking all the wolves and then Coco ultimating. So this is really strange. There's like the only other spell which is even viable is Light Heal spell, but I don't think that's gonna do anything, like honestly. We could try Star Shard spell for raw damage, but I think because we're like it's lower level, I think it's probably not worth it. Yeah, I think we'll just try again with my best setup. This was my best setup before, and this is how we got 74.9%. So I think maybe just with the good RNG, you will still be able to hit it here. We just need the boss not to crit my Odie so much. Maybe I got really lucky with my attempts, but I did like 6 or 7 attempts, and they all were, Odie was surviving towards like, well after the 30-second left mark. So, yeah, but this boss is difficult, definitely a really hard challenge. But it's a good thing because it keeps us on our toes, and it doesn't make it too easy for us, because like previously we knew all of the previous bosses, and if it would just be a repeat of all of those Dream Realm bosses, then we know exactly how to deal with them. Okay, if we can get enough haste on Coco to ultimate, to double ultimate, no, okay, Odie barely died. Yeah, another way you can do this is if the Coco can double ultimate right when her other previous ultimate is ending. Then you can have the protection for Odie so Odie can survive. Yeah, it looks like we're not going to be able to get a new best score because we're not able to even survive as long as we were previously. I'm going to go Evocation spell, try to get the haste buff. And let's see. Okay, and Star Shard spell does give all of your heroes haste, but only 4 haste I think is not going to be game changing, so I think it's just better to use a higher leveled artifact in the new season. But let's see. Yeah, in this fight you want the wolf to be jumping there, yeah, so that your Shakir can come and buff them all up. And now we're getting the haste buff on the Coco, which is really good. Coco's gonna ultimate right now. Seems like an early ultimate. Okay, the boss... Is the boss critting on each... No, it was a red hit with each of his wolf hits, and yeah, he's just gonna get popped. Oh, maybe... Then it does make some sense to upgrade your equipment that gives you crit resistance to try and resist the boss's crit. But it's so strange, because before we even upgraded and leveled up, we were not dying like this. I'm gonna do one more attempt and then we can call it a day. But anyway, this is still getting almost 70% damage, which is still very good. But that would not have been even enough to get in the top 10. So I'm glad I did some attempts before leveling up. It doesn't make much sense. I just don't understand. Like, all that changed was Coco got leveled up to 230. And then our equipment also got upgraded. I think the equipment upgrade may have something to do with it. I want to check the boss's skills after this battle to see if he has any sort of damage reflection type effect, or if it is... Okay, one crit went off on the Odie, but other than that, there was no crits. So hopefully he can survive. Okay, come on, Coco, ult. Yes, okay, Coco, this is what you need. This is exactly what you need to happen. Now, if Odie can just survive for a little bit longer, this is going to be our new best score. So it is just going to be about the RNG in the end. Coco, one more ult. Nice. Okay, so Odie does die in the end, but we get a slight upgrade to our score, 74.72%. We're still rank number 9. And our guildmate advisor, who we were just talking about, is just above us at 1620. But everyone's really close here, but it's really difficult to push past this threshold. Like Corvo and Gray, all of these people are like level 240 resonating level, so level 240 and above on the heroes. We're exactly level 230 on all of our heroes, so it's really not going to be much. We're not going to be able to squeeze out much more damage, but maybe I should try some more attempts to try and get above advisor. But we can let also advisor take it. He's and even if we go in the top, and I still think the people we're competing with are already above us. Allcry already has done it. Yeah, all the people who we're competing with have already beaten us. So it is just up to if anyone else can squeeze out more power than us, and I think it's unlikely because they're all going to be around about our level. And so And our OD is at plus 15 exclusive equipment. Keep that in mind. Plus 10 exclusive equipment Shakira. That does make a difference. Oh, I didn't check the Shakira damage. I'm sorry about that. But let's quickly look at the boss skill and then maybe do one more run and check the Shakira's damage. So the Mist shrouds Wolf King in battle, allowing he to summon wolf packs to attack mist-covered enemies. At the first 10, 40, and 70, the mist appears on the battlefield. The Wolf King disappears briefly and reappears to dispel the mist within one tile. Summons a wolf pack to attack the enemies in the mist. For each hit, he deals percentage damage of his attack, inflicts a stack of bleed for 10 seconds. Each bleed stack deals 3% damage per second to the target up to 6 stacks. The mist disappears in 20 seconds after appearing. Wolf King has a 30% chance to dodge the damage skills from enemies within the mist. And so that is just the chance of dodging the damage skills from enemies within the mist. Okay, but you can't really avoid being in the mist. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Charge toward the farthest, dealing this much damage. Summons 3 spectral wolves. If the mist exists, each dealing 100% damage. And level 3 dashes to the first target, dealing this much, dealing 120 extra damage to the target beyond 2 tiles. Summons 3 spectral wolves if the mist exists, each dealing 100% damage. The spectral wolves, I think, are the problem. Those are the ones which deal a lot of damage. The dash attack, it is not even that worrisome. I think also the bleeding effect, stacking the bleed, also matters, because with Coco's ultimate, it staggers the damage, but it records all the damage that is reduced, and then it deals as true damage as soon as the ultimate is over. So if enough true damage is accumulated in that time period to just one-shot your hero, it is going to kill him. Deals this much damage twice in an arc within a 1 tile, then deals that to gain stat boost. Upon defeating an enemy hero up to... Okay, so this is why you need to have... And I didn't read this skill, but you don't want to run a team that has any weak links. You want everyone on your team to be surviving, because otherwise he gains the tanky buff, he has a haste buff, he's gonna just be destroying you, and you're not gonna be getting off that much damage after that. So now after that, I think I would not even recommend probably going for Cecia if Cecia dies early. But sometimes it could be good for you to squeeze out a bit of extra damage. You know you're gonna die anyway, you just want to deal as much damage as possible. So I can still understand Cecia, and I did run Cecia, but I think if you didn't have like the Shakir, for example, Tamesia would be a good option, or just Corrin, something like that. Basically another hero which is not gonna die, gonna protect you a little bit, and then also get off good damage, like with his true damage. I would probably do something like that, but Shakir I think is the best option apart from that. Okay, let's do a final run. Hopefully we have a decent luck compared to like the previous run, and then we can go and check Shakir's damage. That's what we're going to try to do. Yeah, so he goes for the mist, and then he dodges a lot of attacks. Coco goes for ultimate. The first spectral wolves is not the concerning thing. It's the next one which really makes or breaks the run. And the timing of your Coco ultimate matters for that as well. Okay, good. Shakir's buffing everyone up. And it's sad that Smokey goes for his blue ult right when the boss disappears. Oh wow, okay, there was a lot of damage there, and I think we're just gonna get one shot here after this ends. Oh, barely. Yeah, we're just gonna die, because I think the boss landed a crit, and then he maybe even 2 crits, because it was a lot of damage on Odie. We saw that there. Odie almost survived it. He has like 1 HP left. But here, this is the weird thing, because as long as you're surviving, Odie is still dealing his damage, it's ticking down. Still got 70% off that, which is not bad. And here's the damage output. Okay, so Shakir actually did an impressive amount of damage. Same with Thorin and Smokey, like we said. Thorin deals a damage reflection, which is a lot, and then Smokey just, with his blue aura, deals a lot of damage. Shakir dealt a lot though. 318. That's much more than I was expecting. I was expecting just like 20% of Odie's damage, but he dealt like around 40% of Odie's damage. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of what teams to run in the lone gaze and what you can try to experiment with. But I do recommend Smokey, Odie, Coco for sure. And then if you have Thorin Mythic Plus for protection, that's really good. If you don't have Thorin, then you can try to just run other, like Tamesia plus Corrin. I could see that working. And basically just heroes which are not going to die, heroes which can help you with some like shielding, and healers which deal a lot of damage, because you just, in Dream Realm, just in general, you want to damage down the boss as fast as you can. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. We did make it to AFK stage 445 today, although it is day 15. Is it day 15 of the new server? You can check over here because yeah, day 12 has been passed. I think it's day 13 of the new server. Oh, May 10th is when it started. It's 22nd today. Yeah, so day 13 of the new server. And 445, it unlocked, I think, on day 10 or something. But we would, it's really difficult to even get to AFK. These AFK stages are really hard to push in the new season. So, and then the next threshold, we have to hit AFK stage 515 to unlock stage 5 of the Jura Trials. That's going to be a long time. Like, I think that's going to be at least 3 days from now, or maybe even 4 days, because that is going to be 70 more AFK stages. And on average, really, you can at most push like 30 per day usually. And the levels are also going to be slowing down now that we're leveling up higher. It takes more hero essence in order to get everyone up to the next 10 levels, and so you're going to have to just wait it out. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I hope it was helpful, and I will see you in the next one. If you have any other ideas for videos, you can leave them in the comment section down below. But until the next video, guys, everyone, peace out for now, and thank you for watching.